Next driver we bring on to Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert is someone we were just talking about in the ARCA recap. Berlin winner, Treyten Lapcevich. Welcome to the show again, Treyten, and congrats on the big win Saturday night.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, of course. Before we dive into the action from Berlin, last time we spoke to you, it was before your ARCA debut in Phoenix earlier this season. You finished third there. Was announced last week that you'd be joining forces with Nitro Motorsports starting in Berlin. How has that process been working with that team and crew chief Shannon Rusch?
It was really smooth, honestly. It came together really late. Um, but right when I got to the track there, I didn't really know many of them beforehand. I'd actually talked to Shannon a couple times, including at the Daytona test earlier in the year. But never really had worked with any of them before. And we got up to speed really quick. By the time practice was over, it had felt like I had been working with those guys for a long time. So, we obviously a really great group of people, and they brought a really fast race car to the track.
Awesome. Thank you on touching on that. This was your second ARCA race. You dominated from the time you all unloaded until the checkered flag. Car was a rocket ship all weekend. Must have felt pretty good after winning the pole. Did your team make any adjustments going to the green flag?
We made a couple adjustments during practice just to get me a little bit more comfortable, but it really wasn't anything huge compared to where we started. And then we ended practice pretty good, but the big thing was just trying to understand how the track was going to change later in the night when it cooled off a bit. It was a pretty warm day, and the race wasn't scheduled to roll off till around 7, so we figured the track might change a bit, and Shannon was really good at anticipating the changes that we needed to make. So we made it a couple little adjustments before qualifying. Again, just really minor things, honestly, and we knew that heading into the race that we had the two brakes, so we would have some time to work on the car too and get it a little better in race trim if we needed. But no, it was really great in qualifying, and then we fired off in the race, and the car was pretty much just as good as it had been all day long.
Got it. Before Phoenix, you were talking about being aggressive on the restarts. You were able to get the jump on every restart on Saturday night, en route to leading every lap. And against some of the top ARCA talent of Brenden Queen, Lavar Scott, and Max Reaves, how were you able to keep the 70 out front all night?
Um, yeah, it was actually the first earlier in the race I struggled a little bit more on restarts. The handling of the car, I was a little bit looser on entry, so it was kind of, I was having a tough time getting into turn one and defending that lead because there were two good lanes. The 18 car, when he got position on me on the outside, he could give me a pretty good run for my money there. I think that as the race went on, I progressively found that I could carry more speed into turn one and take that position a lot quicker. As well, some of the adjustments that we made at the brakes just made the car a little bit more comfortable and allowed me to be a little bit more aggressive and maintaining that top spot right away. We didn't want to put ourselves in a position where we relegated the lead at any point. Berlin is a really tough track to pass at because of that. Even if you're much better than the car in front of you, it's still hard to make those passes just because of how competitive the two lanes really are.
Got it. Thank you for going over the different lanes there. Appreciate that. Your first race was at the Mile of Phoenix. Must have felt pretty good getting back to a true short track in Berlin. You were mentioning the track and the tires before the qualifying. How did they treat you throughout Saturday night?
Yeah, it was. It was actually, it was nice because a lot of the last year, for me in racing with the Cars Tour last year, and obviously the ARCA race at Phoenix, it's all been new tracks that I've been showing up to. I hadn't showed up to a familiar track like up until the end of last year in the car store season when we'd already been to those tracks earlier in the year. So it was nice going to Berlin because I've done a couple late model races there. So I had some familiarity with the track. And the line, because it is a kind of a unique track in how it's shaped. So that was definitely helpful. And then the tires, really we were just trying, like I mentioned, we didn't want to relegate the lead at any points. On the restarts we would have to be a little bit more aggressive with our speed, and push the pace up a little bit. And then after that it was really just maintaining it. We didn't want to push the tires any more than we had to. Just to save them for later in the run, and especially that last 75 lap stint, because those were going to be the tires we were going to be on for the rest of the race. So I felt like the fall off wasn't too bad, and our car stayed pretty consistent over the long runs.
Gotcha. Thank you for touching on the tire wear. How are you going to build off this win and for the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's a little bit, it's kind of tough to say. Right now it's a little bit different circumstance for me as it has been in the last prior years. I don't have any certain plans for the rest of the season, and didn't have any certain plans coming into the season either. So really just trying to take any opportunity that I can get. I've been really lucky to have some amazing people supporting me in the bare knuckle fighting championship and Evram, and they always help out when they can, which is amazing, and I'm really thankful for that. So just trying to get any opportunity we can. Obviously winning helps. They say that winning fixes everything. In this case it might not fix the position that I'm in to be able to be in a car full time, but it definitely helps just bring some more opportunities in, and maybe help us make our dollar go a little bit further.
Gotcha. Really appreciate you touching that and going all over the stuff in Berlin. Can't wait to watch you the next time you're in that ARCA seat. And really hope to have you on before the end of the season again, Treyten.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We'll talk to you soon.